our concept of what a city looks like and how it functions. Horse and mule-drawn trolley cars first appeared on North Carolina city streets in 1886, with early systems operating in a handful of cities across the state. But the days of the horse car trolley were over almost as soon as they started. In the late 1800s, as cities welcomed electric power, the horse car went the way of the gas lamp. Electrified streetcars appeared and became the dominant form of urban transportation, clanging and screeching down the streets of 16 towns and cities across the state. More significantly, electric streetcars were able to break free of the city confines, pushing out into the surrounding countryside. Far-sighted businessmen saw economic opportunity in this extended range, but only if people could be encouraged to venture away from the downtown. Across the state, system operators created far-flung destinations designed to attract city dwellers on trolley excursions. In 1890 Charlotte, developer Edward Dilworth Latta purchased the city's trolley system outright and built Latta Park at the end of his extended rail line. The park enticed city dwellers to ride out and enjoy the wide-open spaces. It also gave riders a tantalizing view of Latta's unorthodox new residential development, Dilworth, so daringly far from the heart of the city. In Raleigh, tracks extended out unpaved Glenwood Avenue to Bloomsbury Park, with its carousel, roller coaster, and boating. In Wilmington, the trolley reached out not to a park, but to Wrightsville Beach, where good times beckoned from the Lumina Dance Pavilion. Radiating out from city centers like the spokes of a wheel, the electric streetcar lines of the early 1900s revolutionized how and where we lived. And as city dwellers flocked to the new streetcar neighborhoods, the urban landscape took on a different shape, a different look, and a different feel. The spacious, clean suburbs were a new and promising world. As the 20th century approached, entrepreneurs and tinkerers across the country were experimenting with the possibilities of a carriage powered by a motor instead of a horse. North Carolina, with well-established wagon and bicycle businesses, was a natural breeding ground for such endeavors. Early horseless carriages were handcrafted, as bicycles, buggies, and carriages had always been. And they came in 3 power sources. In 1900, less than 1/4 had gasoline engines. Most relied on steam or electric power. In 1920, North Carolina had 50 public charging stations for electric vehicles. No matter the source of power, horseless carriages were expensive, the playthings of wealthy city dwellers. The most common use was for Sunday pleasure drives into the surrounding countryside. But many horseless carriage owners retained their horses and buggies for serious transportation. In rural areas, the new contraptions were not well received. They were too expensive for most farmers, and they were an unwelcome disruption to traditional country life. Horses in particular tended to panic at the onrush of a roaring, smoking, lurching motor vehicle. Equine terror aside, most rural people believed when it came to real work, the automobile was generally useless and largely unreliable. Many a farmer had the experience of hooking up his team to tow some city feller's horseless carriage out of a mud hole or back to a garage. As a result of their antipathy and scorn for the automobile, most rural people viewed any tax to improve roads as a tax on the